In this session, we will discuss about the hypothesis testing. First, we'll see what is actually meant by a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a statement concerning a population parameter or population distribution. Here, as the hypothesis, what we are going to do is we are commenting on population parameter, or we are just having the comment on the population distribution. But when we are considering about the hypothesis, if we are saying it as a statement, it can be true or it can be a false statement. But what we have to do is we have to test whether the statement is true or false. Therefore, the testing procedure is meant to be the testing of hypothesis. Therefore, generally we are having a statement, a hypothesis, a statement concerning a population parameter or population distribution. It can be true or else it can be false, but anyhow we need to test whether it is true or false. The procedure that we are using is said to be testing hypothesis or testing of hypothesis or hypothesis testing. Then when we are going to discuss about this procedure of testing of hypothesis, here we are presenting with a pair of hypotheses. Here we are going to consider pair of hypotheses. One of these would be always true. Therefore, if we are having a statement, I told you that statement, this can be true or it can be false. But if you need to check for this statement whether it is true or false, it is for the hypothesis testing. Here we need to make them as two statements. What one would be definitely a true one and other would be a false statement. But still the making true or false can be obtained just by taking the negation of the statement. Still we do not know what is the true one and what is the false one. The only thing we know is one of these statements would be a true statement and the other statement would be a false statement. Then when we are taking about the testing of the hypothesis, I told that we are having two statements for the hypothesis. Actually, if you are taking a hypothesis, if you are taking a hypothesis, we can divide this hypothesis into two parts. One is the null hypothesis and next one is the alternative hypothesis. Therefore, if you are considering about this null and alternative hypothesis, these are supposed to be the two statements which I have mentioned previously. One would be true, one would be false. Therefore, one of those statements will be mentioned under null hypothesis and the remaining would be mentioned under the alternative hypothesis. Then if you are consider about the null hypothesis is generally denoted as H naught and alternative hypothesis is generally denoted as H1, or else to denote it as alternative, it denotes as HA. Here we are taking 1 or 0 is subscripted, 1 is subscript. Instead of 1, sometimes we are using it as A. Therefore, if you are using the notation H1 or HA, it is for the alternative hypothesis, notation for alternative hypothesis. But if it is H naught, it is the notation for null hypothesis. If you are considering about writing down the null and the alternative hypothesis, generally we are making our comment, or the general comment or the statement is mentioned under the alternative hypothesis. Therefore, the statement that we are mentioning is supposed to be the claim. We are naming it as the claim. Therefore, the claim is, it is simply say that the claim is generally, researchers claim is generally stated under the alternative hypothesis. Therefore, if a researcher is seeking to, or if it is need to find out something, then that claim should be always go under the alternative hypothesis, and its negation, is always stated under the null hypothesis. Therefore, When we are constructing the alternative and null hypothesis, the easiest way is researchers claim has to be included as the alternative hypothesis, and then its negation would be included in the null hypothesis, which is denoted as H null. And when we are going for the testing procedures, generally we are not going to test for alternative. We are only checking for the null hypothesis only. Therefore, if I summarize what we have discussed so far, um, I discussed about if we are having hypothesis is said to be a statement that we are having which may or may not be true. Then hypothesis is divided into two parts. It is null hypothesis, which is denoted as H naught, and alternative hypothesis, which is denoted as H1, or else which can be denoted as HA. For the alternative hypothesis, we are generally having the researchers claim is generally stated under the alternative hypothesis, and the negation of the claim. The negation of the claim is denoted under null hypothesis, and always null hypothesis is being tested. Is being tested. Always we are testing for null hypothesis only. We are never testing for the alternative hypothesis. It is here researchers claim is generally stated under alternative. Its negation is included in null hypothesis, and null hypothesis is the hypothesis which is being always tested. Okay, as an example, suppose that a businessman needs to open a new branch of his company in a town which is far away from the capital city of the country, capital of the country. A businessman is planning to open a new branch. Since the city that he has chosen is somewhat far away from the capital of the country, then the income of the people living in this town is somewhat compared to the low to the people who live in the capital of the country. Therefore, here what they are having to do is a businessman is operating a business in the capital of the country. Then he is moving away to somewhat a far village, or we'll say it is a small town. Then the businessman is planning to, he is still planning, in the planning stage. He is planning to start a new business, planning to start a new business in this town. Therefore, what the businessman is thinking is, if the businessman is needed to start a new business, then the people who live in that area should be able to, or they should have wealth, or they should have enough money to buy the items from that businessman. Therefore, the businessman should have, if he need to have a very good business in this town, then he need to check the income level of, he need to check for the income level of the people who lives in this town. Otherwise his business will not be a success one. It is because, suppose that if this businessman is selling some item which is around 25,000, then the people who lives in this area are just having this income of 30,000, then there is no point of, no people would be paying this much of money for buying a new item. It is because the first thing that they are earning this money is for their livings. Therefore, suppose that if it is a new TV or radio, then it may not be, or then this businessman may not be able to run a good business in this area if the average income is around 30,000. Therefore, as the first thing, the businessman should get an idea regarding the income of the people who live in this area. Then what he is going to do is, with the past experience, it is because with the businessman is already running a business in the capital. Then with the past experience, the businessman knows that if the monthly income level of the people lives in the area is over is 1,000, then the business will get success. Therefore, if the monthly income is over 10,000, then he knows that the business is a success one. Otherwise, he knows that business is not a successful one. It is because if the people who live in that area have the money with them, enough money with them, then they will buy the items from this businessman. Otherwise, they will not pay, or they will not spend that much of money for buying any new items. They just need to maintain it for their livings. Then what he is doing is, according to the past experience, he knows that the if the average income is over $1,000, then the business will get success. Therefore, he wishes to test this statement. Therefore, this is what the businessman saying, that the area is which is over $1,000. Therefore, under H1, under the alternative hypothesis, we can simply write it: the average income of the people in the area is greater than $1,000. Therefore, this would be the alternative hypothesis. And negation of this hypothesis is mentioned under null hypothesis. Therefore, the negation is, if it is greater than, then negation would be less than or equal. It should be always less than or equal. Negation of greater than should be less than or equal. Therefore, H naught would be the average income of people in the area is less than or equal to $1,000. Therefore, it can be statistically shown using the notations. Then H naught would be mu less than or equal to 1,000, and H1 should be mu greater than 1,000. Therefore, this is how we are constructing the hypothesis. But apart from using this concept, the next thing what we can consider is, if we are having any statement or any condition which is including greater than or equal, less than or equal, or equal sign, then all these should be stated under H naught. Under H naught, we can have the notations as greater than or equal, less than or equal, and equal sign only. Then for the alternative hypothesis, for whatever alternative hypothesis, we can have strictly less than, strictly greater than, strictly it is not equal. It is the negation of the signs which I have mentioned previously. If it is greater than or equal, then negation is less than. If it is less than or equal, negation is greater than. If it is equal, negation is not equal. Therefore, this is the easiest way that we can find out what should be included in null hypothesis and what should be included in alternative hypothesis. And the next thing is, generally researchers claim is stated under alternative hypothesis, and the negation of the hypothesis or the negation of the statement mentioned is mentioned under the null hypothesis. And always we are testing for the null hypothesis only. Never we are testing for the alternative hypothesis. The next way that we can find out what would be null and what would be alternative, if you can see these notations, or the meanings of these notations: strictly less than, strictly greater than, or not equal. There is no any sign of equality in the alternative. If the word equality, less than or equal, greater than or equal, or just equal, then such type of statement should be always mentioned under the null hypothesis. When we are going to testing for the hypothesis, generally we are having two types of errors. In simply, we can say that if you are testing hypothesis, one of this would be accepted, or one of this would be rejected, or one of this would be failed to rejected. Rather than saying as accepted, we are saying whether it is rejected or failed to rejected, rejected or failed to rejected. Rather than saying accepted, it is better to say it has failed to reject. Then if you are making any decisions, then there will be two types of errors which we can have. If I say those errors, suppose that if you are having actually a correct one, the one error that we can have is the correct one. If we are reject a correct one, then this would be a error. If we are not reject a wrong one, if you are not rejecting a wrong one, or if you are, in other words, if you are accepting a wrong one, then this would be another error that we are making. Therefore, these are the errors that we are considering as the type 1 and type 2 error. Now we will have a look on those two types of errors. Then these are the two types of errors that we can have: reject a correct one or not rejecting a wrong one. Those are the errors that we can identify, and those are named as the type 1 and type 2 errors. Then in the process of hypothesis testing, there are two types of errors which are named as type 1 error and type 2 error. Type 1 error is generally denoted by the notation alpha, and type 2 error is generally denoted by notation beta. And type 1 error, another name for type 1 error is the producer's risk, and type 2 error is the consumer's risk. Rather than saying as type 1 and type 2 error, it is another name for type 1 error would be producer's risk, and type 2 error would be consumers risk, and they are denoted by alpha and beta respectively. Now we will see what is actually this type 1 and type 2 error. Type 1 error refers to the incorrect judgment to reject the true null hypothesis in statistical testing. It means that if we are rejecting, if you are making an incorrect judgment to reject the true null hypothesis, then it is mentioned as the type 1 error. It is quite as if we are rejecting a correct one, then this would be type 1 error. This would be type 1 error. It is saying that incorrect judgment to reject null hypothesis. It means rejecting a true one is an error. Then type 2 error is defined as incorrect acceptance, or rather than the rejection, incorrect acceptance of erroneous null hypothesis. Therefore, if it is actually a wrong one, if we are fail to reject that, then it would be again an error, and this is supposed to be type 2 error. Therefore, these are supposed to be the two types of errors we are having, and this is supposed to be alpha and this is supposed to be beta. And this type 1 error, it is the value alpha that we are using as the significance level of the test. In the previous sessions, we have considered about the confidence interval, then 1 minus confidence, or just there also we have mentioned the value of alpha. It is what we are saying as the significance level of the test. Therefore, the maximum probability of committing a type 1 error is said to be the significance level of the test, which is denoted by alpha. Here it is again stated about in explain that rejecting correct claim based on the sample data, when failing to reject a wrong claim based on sample data may be type 1 and type 2 error. Okay, I will discuss an example related to this type 1 and type 2 error. Here for an example, suppose that a company follows a rule regarding incoming shipment. If the number of defect items identified in a random sample of 100 items is higher than 5 items, then the company rejects the whole shipment. Suppose that it will be considered in this way. Suppose that you are getting a shipment. In this ship, you may have set of items that we are receiving. Among this shipment, what we are doing is we are selecting 100 items. It is the company policy. According to the company policy, they have to test 100 items, and the company policy is if defects are greater than 5. If we have identified among these 100, if we have observed more than 5 defects, then we have to reject the entire shipment. If defects are less than or equal to 5, then do not reject. Do not reject the shipment. Therefore, this is the company policy that they are having. According to the company policy, if the defects are greater than 5, reject. The rejecting means they are rejecting the entire shipment. They are not rejecting these 5 items only. They are rejecting entire shipment if the defects are greater than 5. If the defects are less than or equal to 5, they are failed to reject the shipment. They have to accept the shipment. Suppose that in one day they have got a shipment. Suppose that if they are getting actually a quality shipment, suppose that this shipment is a quality shipment. This is a quality shipment. Suppose that if it is having 10,000 items, 10,000 items. Unfortunately, for the sample that we have obtained as 100, for the sample that we have obtained as 100, if it is identify the defects, 6 defects. Suppose that if 6 defects were found in this 100 items that they have selected as a sample. If this is the 6 defects that they have find out in the sample, what they have to do is they have to reject. They have to reject. Even though it is a quality shipment, suppose that these are the only 6 items, or suppose that there is only, if it is 1,000, then if they are having it as accepted, means 5% of this can be considered as the defect ones. Other 95% would be good ones. But unfortunately, in this 100 items, they have found 6 defects. Therefore, according to the company policy, they have to reject the entire shipment. Here, what they have done was actually a good one is rejected, or quality shipment is rejected. Quality shipment rejected. But this is an error that they have made, and this is supposed to be type 1 error. It is because they have rejected the true one, or actually a good one they have rejected. Therefore, this is how we can explain the type 1 error. And this is supposed to be the consumer's risk. It is because the consumer, as the producer's risk, type 1 error as the producer's risk, it is because the producer make this shipment, but the consumer reject it by assuming it as a bad shipment, since they have found 6 defects. And the next thing is, if I explain the next situation, suppose that actually they have got a bad shipment. Still we do not know, but bad shipment, the company has anyhow make the shipment with this 10,000 items. But even though it is a bad shipment, for the sample that they have selected as 100, if they have found only 4 defects, suppose that they have found 4 defects from this 100 items, then according to the policy rule, they are failed to reject. Then this is failed to reject. It is because even though it is a bad shipment, Since they have found the number of defects less than 5, they are failing to reject this shipment. Therefore, this is a bad shipment. It is not a quality shipment that they got, is failed to reject. They are failing to reject a bad one. Therefore, this is also an error that they are committing. Then this is supposed to be the type 2 error that they are committing. Therefore, since the error is type 2 error, it is supposed to be the consumer's risk. As the consumers, we all have the right to have good items or good shipment of the items. But what we have done was, based on these 4 defects, according to the company policy, we have failed to reject this bag, even though it is a bad shipment. According to the sample that we have obtained, since it was less than 5, according to the company policy, we need to accept that shipment. Therefore, we are failed to reject even though it is a bad shipment. Therefore, these are the errors which can be seen under the hypothesis testing. Actually, a true hypothesis is rejected. It is said to be type 1 error, or it is said to be the significance level as the alpha. Type 1 error, it is the alpha. Then the next error that we can see is bad shipment is failed to reject. It is the consumer's risk, or we are saying it as the type B or type 2 error, which is said as beta. Here I have already mentioned about the significance level. Then the significance level is the maximum probability of committing type 1 error. Then here, when we are performing the hypothesis testing, we need to have an idea regarding the significance level. It is because based on the significance level, we are making all the conclusions. Therefore, the maximum probability of, or maximum possibility of committing of type 1 error is named as the significance level. Then but according to the significance level and the type of the alternative hypothesis we are having, we are categorizing them as one-tailed test and two-tailed test. Therefore, if we are having the alternative hypothesis, I told that we are using these signs in the alternative, whether it is less than sign, it may be greater than sign, or it is not equal sign. If you are having this less than or greater than, then those would be only, it says only about one side, whether it is less than or whether it is greater than. For the first two, we are having one side. But if it is not, if it is saying as not equal, it is not, it says that it is not equal to a particular value, then it can be less than or else it can be greater than. Therefore, we have to see on two sides if we are having the notation as not equal. Therefore, if you can see less than or greater than sign inside the alternative hypothesis, then we are using one-sided tests. And if we can see the not equal sign in the alternative hypothesis, then we have to go for the two-sided test. Therefore, according to the sign that we can see in the alternative hypothesis, we are performing one-side test, or we are performing two-sided test. And according to these one-sided and two-sided, we have to now combine them with the maximum probability of committing type 1 error, or what we are saying as the significance level. And here I have mentioned it in the below table, finding out the rejection region. Suppose that if you are having your hypothesis in this way, generally if it is less than, this should be greater than or equals. But sometimes if you are using a software, you can see it as only equality only, but the alternative, they are always asking for the alternative. Then it is less than, then if the alternative is less than, null hypothesis would be greater than or equal. If it is in the other way around, if it is less greater than sign, then this should be less than or equal. Since the equality is there, they have just mentioned as equal. Okay, now we'll see how we can identify the rejection region and the acceptance region. If it is a left tail test, left tail in the sense here we are having less than sign. Here we are having the less than sign. Since we are having the less than sign in the alternative hypothesis, we are taking this as a left tail, one tail test having a left tail. Therefore, the most left side of this distribution would have the rejection region. If our value falls into this region, then this would be considered as rejected hypothesis. Then the region area can be named as alpha since it is the significance level we are having, and acceptance region would be 1 minus alpha. It is for the left-tailed test. But if it is a right-tailed test, what will happen? If it is a right-tailed test, we can see greater than sign in the alternative. Then most right side part should be the rejection region, and that region will have the value as alpha. And this acceptance region would be now 1 minus alpha. It is for one-sided test, left tail and the right tail. Then the next type of test we are having is the two tails test. Suppose that if you are having not equal sign in our hypothesis, then we may have two sides. If it is not equal to a particular value in the sense, it can be a value which is lesser than to that value, or else a value which can be a greater than to that value. But altogether, what we can, the maximum probability of committing a type 1 error is alpha. Therefore, now we need to divide this alpha into two equal regions. That is why we are using alpha divided by 2. Now you may understand in the previous sessions why we have used it as alpha divided by 2, since we need to find out the upper and the lower boundaries. Then the significance level has to be divided into two parts, but anyhow here also acceptance region would be 1 minus alpha. Then if you are having two tail test, we are dividing this alpha into two equal parts to find out the rejection region. But if it is left tail, the most left side of the distribution would be rejection region having the value alpha. If it is a right tail test, most right side should be considered as the rejection region, which is named as alpha. And the thing that we have discussed is again described here. And after considering this hypothesis testing, we should be able to make a conclusion whether hypothesis is rejected or not. Then we can combine this with the calculated value and alpha. We can make the comment on that this way. If we are having, suppose that using a test statistic we are calculating a value. If the calculated value, if the calculated value is if the calculated value falls into the rejection region, falls into the rejection region, then what we rejection region, then what we have to do is we have to reject our null hypothesis. Therefore, what we need to do is we need to reject the null hypothesis. If the calculated value falls into the rejection region, then we have to reject the null hypothesis. And the next thing that we can do is there is a concept called the finding the p-value. Then generally we are not going to find in the p-value for manual calculations, which can be calculated, but in these sessions I am not going to describe of finding out the p-values. Therefore, if you are having a software output, generally we may get the p-values. Therefore, if the p-value obtained for a particular test is less than the alpha level, here we are saying alpha is the significance level, then we have to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, these are said to be the rejection or the rules that we are used to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, the rules for decision making, we can consider if the calculated test statistic value falls into the rejection region, then we have to reject the null hypothesis, or else if the output that we are getting as the p-value, if the p-value is less than the alpha level, then again we have to reject the hypothesis. Therefore, this is an introduction for the hypothesis, and in the next session, I will discuss about how we can test for the hypothesis, taking the examples, and according to the types of samples and according to the independence of samples, we have to use several methods, like in the interval estimation. Then in the next session, I will discuss about those matters, and this is all what I need to discuss for this session, and thank you all for your participation.